Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, pause this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. In the context of this podcast, everybody refers to us and our cat. You are free to feel however you want about Rand, who is a fictional character. Don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
I don't know what the smell is, but
It's like a harvest blend. It's like,
maybe
all
like
the-
cinnamon is
yeah,
what
it's
I'm
all like the
smelling.
cinnamons, and it's got a little bit of apple
Cinnamon.
in it.
Gosh, maybe I would like an apple. No, pumpkin spice. Apple spice?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that just what apple cider is?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never had cider.
Really?
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's like a hot drink, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I've always thought if there's a hot drink that could be had, usually hot chocolate is an option, and I'd rather have hot chocolate than hot apple juice.
Yeah, I don't really like it because it is just like hot,
Yeah.
slightly stronger apple juice, and I've just never really taken to it.
I can barely eat fruits and vegetables to begin with.
When you were researching Twitch, could we just do it from my laptop?
The problem is, I think...
Not for Wind Waker. I just think it
Oh.
would be funny to make all of the Wheel of Time characters in The Sims.
Oh, yes, we could do that from your
Okay.
laptop. That could be a potential
Yeah, I just thought that
next
would be
week's
funny.
quarantine activity.
Yeah.
Is Sims working on your computer?
I
yet?
mean, it should be now. I haven't tried it, but I re-downloaded, so I just need to figure out if that's a possibility. But
I think it would be. I'd have to figure it out, but yeah, you just have to download Twitch on your computer, and we'd have to set up a mic, and we can do it so that people can just see the screen, or they can see you while you're
okay, well, I would want you to do it with me.
us while we're playing with Wheel of Time character
I
Sims.
just thought it would be fun.
I think that would be fun too. The Sims 4 is such a delightful game.
So, just an idea that I had,
Oh.
trying to give the people what they want.
Yeah, I could play Minecraft and make the White Tower or something. No, that would take so long. You guys don't even know the sheer amount of stone I would have to mine to make the White Tower. I can't even think about it.
what the Ogier had to do. Did the Ogier make the White Tower?
I know they made Tarvalon. Do you think every day is like a game of Minecraft to the Ogier?
Yeah. They're like, oh, how to build a huge tower so I know where my house is.
That's how their eyeballs work. They only see squares.
Yeah. Oh my
Everyone
God.
is made of squares.
Ah! Ah! Just little blocky people.
Just little blocky people. That's why Loyal is always like, I don't really get the appeal of human
They're very ugly.
women.
Ah!
But look at this Lady Ogier. She's so beautiful. I wish Loyal was here. That's the one downside of having no parent points of view in the Fires of Heaven, is we don't have Loyal or Gaul either. Two of the best boys. Instead, we have to deal endlessly and nonsensically with Rand's woman troubles. I know, as if being stuck inside for weeks on end couldn't get worse, we had to read these chapters. Oh man, it's so bad. This is Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Emily Jushaw,
And I am Sally Gitcher.
and we're doing okay.
I am not doing okay, but I'm trying to do okay.
I was pulling the median from us, the average.
Okay.
You're doing terribly, and I'm doing pretty well considering the circumstances, so.
Okay. Yesterday, I think I convinced Gethin to read Wheel of Time out of spite so that he could read it faster than Nathan. So we'll see how that goes.
The perfect reason to read Wheel of Time.
Because he was talking... Gethin has apparently read Dune 3 times.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like...
Does he listen to this podcast?
No.
No, Gethin!
Yeah.
Gethin, you absolute...
Yeah. Apparently he, like, loves Dune. And I haven't read Dune, so I can't speak to it. But Emily has, and I trust her, so I'm going to say that's not good.
It's like... I don't know. I can see how in some people's minds, or depending on what your experience was as a child, or any other number of factors, I don't want to make huge, overreaching judgment calls. I can see how Dune would be appealing to some people. Because I have spent half my life reading The Wheel of Time, partly just because I'm over white colonialist male fantasy, was like, I can't really do this. But kind of that's just what happens when you read books in a genre that you've devoted half your life to studying. So I'm coming at it from a cynic's perspective. There are a couple great things about Dune, namely the worms.
There are a couple. Wait, just the worms.
Just the worms, and also the fear is the mind killer speech, because it's so fucking funny. Like, do you even know the circumstances under which the fear is the mind killer speech happens? At the very beginning of the book, Paul, the main character, is named Paul, as you may recall, and his mother's name is Jessica. They, like, go... Basically, Jessica is, like, an Aes Sedai, because Robert Jordan plagiarized everything from Frank Herbert, apparently. And they go to meet the Amerlin seat equivalent, who's, like, testing Paul to see if he's the chosen one or whatever. And she's like, you have to put your hand into this pain box. And find out if you are a man or an animal. Because if you're a man, then you'll be able to, like, endure the pain. If you're an animal, you'll just let your reflexes drive you to get away from the pain.
Find out if you're a man or an animal.
He's
a man.
This is the first chapter I read, and I was like, what is happening?
What happens to the animals?
They're just animals. They're not worthy of being the chosen ones, apparently. It was like, it's like some test of self-worth.
Pain box.
Pain box. There's no actual injury happening to his hand, but in classic sci-fi fashion, it's like making your brain think that there's pain. So it's like, can you keep your hand in the pain box? There's like a fancy fantasy word for it, but I've forgotten.
Pain box?
Yeah, I just think of it as the pain box. And anyway, then he's like, fear is the mind killer when he's thinking about putting his hand in the box. Fear is the little death that obliterates everything. Okay. So that's Dune, I guess.
Yesterday, when we were having the conversation about Dune, they were putting in screenshots from the movie into the group chat, Gethin and Julie, and I discovered that the man who plays Paul in one of the adaptations plays Trey in Sex and the City.
Who?
Pull it up.
Whose boyfriend is that?
That is Charlotte's first husband. I think you came in on my rewatch at the end.
I came in right as she was getting involved with her second husband, Harry.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, my Christ.
Should we watch Dune?
I'd sooner perish. I'd sooner put my face in a pain box than watch Dune.
Like, why are his nipples just out?
I mean, were they going to put Timothée Chalamet in that exact outfit?
Is Timothée Chalamet
he's supposed to be in Dune. I don't know what the status of Dune is, A, given the global pandemic, and B, just given that I haven't really heard anything about it recently. But yeah, he's supposed to be Paul Atreides.
I don't know. Timothée Chalamet. Why are you famous?
I don't know. I don't get it. Just because Greta Gerwig or whoever loves him?
Greta
Gerwig?
I don't know. Didn't he get famous because of Call Me By Your Name? Wasn't that, like, his big break?
Yeah, his homophobic bullshit.
Gross. I just, like, he's in everything now. And I just, like, constantly forget what he looks like.
I do, too. I can't remember what he looks like now. I see, like, hair. I think I'm imposing Harry's styles.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, I guess we do have to talk about Wheel of Time eventually. The problem is that there's really nothing to talk about.
Yeah, these are just, like...
2 boring chapters.
Yeah, the only thing they really do is, like, set up Rand and Avienda's, like, weird sleeping arrangement in this novel.
Yeah, which I always forget is, like, a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it has to be a thing for sex igloo to happen. It's like Robert Jordan's writing his own fan fiction with his own characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, get this, they have to sleep in the same room.
For
The sexual
reasons
tension must
unknown.
mount. Yeah. Because Avienda's like, I don't want to. And the wise ones are like, you must. And everyone's like, why? And they're like, we're not telling.
And it's...
It's best to remain mysterious. Like, as Rand himself says, Avienda's not a very good spy.
Yeah.
She's absolute shit at it.
Yeah.
So, like, why is she there to begin with?
I don't know. Is it just the wise ones being like, we know you two are horny for each other, and we're gonna meddle?
I don't know. It's like...
That's what old women do, apparently.
It's like, are they trying to get Rand and Avienda together so that Rand will be tethered to the ale in this one particular way? Because if that's the case, I already feel like the entire situation is like this, but I feel like that's pretty unethical. And I wish that characters who I otherwise generally like wouldn't resort to such unethical measures.
Yeah.
Like, take Avienda's consent into account, please.
I know.
Regardless of whether she's horny for him. You can be horny for a lot of people and not actually want to sleep with them.
It's true.
That's how I feel about... I can't think of it. Most men, I guess.
I don't know. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. Like, Chris Hemsworth could fuck. And I'd be like, damn. He's fuckable, and I think he's really sexy, but he has a wife and children, and I have other concerns in my life that prevent me from fucking Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
There are just a lot of factors to consider.
Yeah. What's the...
As though Chris Hemsworth's wife is the number one reason for me, a stranger, not fucking him. We don't know each other.
It's probably number one.
The point is that it's nonsensical, and as far as I know, it's never really explained any more deeply than it is here.
Yeah, and it's just, like, so, like, indicative of the way that relationships are written in this series, which I know we have, like, got on our soapbox about a million times, but to just be, like... The foundation of any, like, romantic, sexual, any type of intimate relationship is just going to be completely nonsensical. It's just, like, very frustrating. It's, like, very... Like, Avienda and Rand, I guess, spend, like, the most direct time together.
Yeah, but
at this point in the series.
But all their time together is spent, like, sniping at each other.
Yeah. So it's, like... It's all antagonistic. Like, Avienda does not have a say in the matter because she's being forced to do it. And so it's like...
Rand doesn't have a say in the matter because she's being forced to do it. He, like, says in his, like, little internal monologue that Avienda can be pleasant company when she, like, forgets where she is.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, we haven't seen any evidence of that in the text. The only... conversations we ever get from them are them being mad at each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just very yucky. It's just like one of the more yucky things that happens in Wheel of Time in terms of interpersonal relationships.
It seems to be built on the presumption that Robert Jordan has that any young man and woman who share a scene together will by necessity have sexual tension, which is certainly not true.
Yeah.
But it's like he seems to think that because in his head this is where they're going to go, that there's no effort involved in creating sexual tension. Yes. When in fact that's something you have to write into the character's relationship. It doesn't just appear because you will it to.
Yeah. Shocking.
Shocking, I know.
Yeah, and it also is the, like... I think there's, like, a hint in it that, like, Robert Jordan writes most scenes with, like, sexual overtones as if they are comical rather than genuine. Mm-hmm. And so, like, a lot of the Ale's complicated honor system plays out as, like, confusing or comical for our non-Ale characters. And so, like, of course, you know, you've got, like, Edwin being absolutely horrified by the concept that Rand and Aviendha would share a room together. So then we've got, like, Rand being, like, super embarrassed and Aviendha being, like, whatever. And that's supposed to have some sort of, like, comedic overtone rather than just being, like, sure, sex and romance can be, like, fun and funny, but also, like, there should be, like, safety at the core of all of that.
Yeah, sex and romance should be fun and funny if the characters are in on the joke.
Yeah.
It's like just setting people up in a situation that's terrible isn't actually, like, fun.
Yeah. And it's just, like, comes out again so many times with, like, Edwin when she's, like, sneaking away to, like, make out with Gawain every day. And everyone's, like, mocking her. And it's like, yeah, she's being ridiculous. But, like, isn't there any sort of, like, she's just having, like, a nice time? Why does it always have to be, like, people are like, oh, she's so silly and horny?
Yeah.
Or, like, even, like, some scenes with Matt and Tylan are, like, played for the joke.
Oh, yeah. Matt's entire relationship with Tylan is, like, played for laughs when it's like, oh, homie, no.
Yeah. And it's just, like, very frustrating. The whole thing is very frustrating. Because it's, like, I don't know, man. Like, intimacy is a serious subject.
Yeah, especially because, like, I don't know, I keep thinking of how Rand hasn't really had any relationships with women before this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been Edwin, but their relationship hasn't really gone into the realm of sexual.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just feels like these are kids, I guess,
Yeah.
in a way, which isn't to say that virginity makes you immature. It's just that their lack of experience combined with their age, combined with their general lack of maturity just as characters, really sets up this to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it feels very predatory on the part of the Aes Sedai, for sure. Not just for Aviendha, but for Rand.
Yeah.
Especially since they know it's, like, not his culture.
Yeah.
To have to, like, share your bedroom with anybody before you're married.
Yeah, that means, like, I mean, he'd probably be fine with it, but I don't really know. And it's like, okay, if I heard I don't know, then I'd be like, all right, well, we're not going to do anything then.
Yeah.
So it's enthusiastic consent, you know? These chapters also set up Rand's tumultuous relationship with all the maidens, which is a little more actually funny, but still a little weird because it has to do with Rand not understanding culture and also being a huge misogynist. So that's not as funny as Robert Jordan thinks it is.
Yeah.
But Rand's sleeping quarters, his room, is in this big building that the maidens have taken over and are like, this is going to be our HQ in Ruidaean, and also Rand sleeps here. Men don't, but Rand is the exception. He's got this little room in the middle of it, windowless.
Yeah.
Sort of troubling. I don't think I could sleep in a windowless room. Like, I know windows are their own set of danger, but...
No, it's like my window in New York was really small, and that was always really upsetting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, where does sunshine?
Yeah, where's the air?
How do I get out? This is a fire hazard.
Exactly, yeah. Especially because Rand talks about doing some bullshit channeling that Asmodean told him to do that'll make the room warmer, and he, like, woke up in the middle of the night on fire.
Yeah.
Which is like what happens if I leave a space heater on. Too much.
Yeah, that space heater gets really hot really quick.
That space heater? Yeah, I know. I have one in my room at home, too. Which, because the room is a lot bigger, it takes a lot longer, but still, if you just leave it on all night, then it's like, where am I?
The house is on fire.
There's
no
on
oxygen.
Fire.
Yeah. Yeah, but Rando Boy sleeps in a big palace thing.
Yeah, and he
All
talks
the
about,
maidens.
like, coming in and all the maidens are acting like they were at summer camp, just sitting around playing games,
Ping
chatting. And everyone's like, oh, hey, Rand. How's it going, Rand? Rand, have you been drinking enough? Rand, you're a white boy. Stay out of the sun. And Rand's like, literally, I am one of you.
We have the same skin complexion.
We have the same skin. And Rand's really annoyed by all their quote-unquote mothering of him. I guess I feel like showing concern for people is not by necessity maternal.
Inherently motherly. I hate Rand's relationship to the maidens, where he's like, why don't they treat me with more respect? I'm like, they're not disrespectful to you at all. I don't know, man. I just think, like, I get it. It's frustrating. Like, as someone who gets told constantly, like, you're not sleeping enough, you need to do this, you need to do that, like, you're not competent enough to take care of yourself. It's very frustrating to be infantilized in that way. But there is just, like, Rand's overtones of misogyny on top of it, that it's like, I don't want to be treated like they're women.
Yeah, like, he talks about how they either treat him as a brother or a son, as though the only, like, male-female relationships he can conceptualize that are platonic are also familial. Mm-hmm. When it's like, you can just be friends with women. Shocking, I know, but you and the maidens can just have, like, a nice relationship where you respect each other.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not allowed.
That's not allowed in Wheelie world.
Nope. Gotta be fucking.
It's only allowed between Matt and Brigitte for some reason. The exception to the rule.
Yeah, it's because Matt is too hot for Brigitte.
And yeah, Matt never really thinks of Brigitte sexually either. I've been thinking about that. He doesn't really sexualize her. Even when she, like, dresses in that, like, slutty Halloween costume, he's like, what's happening? I don't know
She's like, I'm the best day of my life. That's
what's happening. What's going on. She's like, I like it when people look at me. And he's like, okay, do you? This is very confusing, though.
And she's like, yes, I do. I love Brigitte.
I love Brigitte, too. I wish that we were at the part of the book where she is here. But, alas, that won't be for a while.
But, yeah, then Avienda comes in, lo and behold, and is like, Berberdor, we hate each other. You belong to Elaine, whatever.
Yeah, she's like, here, have a belt buckle that I had made for you. And Rand's like, thank you? And she's like, but don't worry, it's not because I like you or anything. It's because of a tradition that when I become a wise one, I have to melt down all my weapons from when I was a maiden and turn them into gifts and give them to people I hate. And Rand's like, great, so you hate me. And she's like, yes.
Copy that.
And he's like, cool, thank you. Mm-hmm. So glad that you keep spending time in my company then. Like, if you hate me, go away. And all this, like, bullshit about how he belongs to Elaine. And he's like, that isn't how it works. Like, Elaine and I made out a few times, and she left me a very confusing series of letters. But that does not mean we're engaged. We're not even really boyfriend-girlfriend, you know? Like, but also I do not want to sleep with this lady, Isendra?
Yeah.
Isendra? Who is now, like, one of the servants for the maidens, because if you might remember at the end of the last book, she was stealing a bunch of shit. And so now she's, like, wandering around dressed just in the jewelry she stole, which, again, seems like a setup for one of Robert Jordan's weird fetishes. Doesn't seem like something anyone would actually do.
Yeah, because, again, it's just like, oh, nakedness is a punishment. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just naked. But also, like, to her credit, she doesn't seem bothered that much by it.
She's like, great, this is the setup I've been dreaming of. I'm just wearing hella jewelry that was looted from other cities.
Nice.
Check me out. But she also keeps trying to, like, get to Rand to seduce him, and Rand's, like, not into it because she's a dark friend. And he knows she's a dark friend, and he knows all of the, like, merchants are dark friends, but he can't tell anyone, because then they might piece together that Asmodean is actually one of the Forsaken, which I will admit is a highly comical situation.
Yeah. See, that's funny, Robert Jordan.
Although I think it would have been funnier if, like, Rand, if it became, like, a thing. Like, if Rand was like, Matt, I need to tell you something. They are, in fact, all dark friends, but you cannot, like, spread that info. And Matt being like, why?
What?
And Rand being like, because Asmodean is teaching me how to channel. And Matt being like, great, he's lost it.
I hate that you've told me this.
I don't want this knowledge.
I also feel like, would Matt believe him? That would be very funny dynamic.
You're going crazy.
He's like, Rand thinks this motherfucker is Asmodean.
Rand thinks this random bard is a Forsaken. What the fuck?
That he has trapped and is learning to channel.
And he's told me, founding member of the elite Forsaken Kill Squad. whatever. I'm not going to investigate. This seems normal.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's losing it.
But Zendra gets run off, and then Avienda's like, fine, I'm leaving too. And Rhiann's like, great. Just leave. I bet Edwene is having a much better time right now. Cut to Edwene, who's having about the same level of bad time as Rand. And also thinking Rand is having a better time right now, because that's the entire basis of their relationship. And Robert Jordan thinking that that is comedic parallelism. It's
Anyway,
not after the 10th time.
Egg is naked and cold.
Egg is
she wants
naked.
to bath.
She's making herself a bath. And then one of the Gai'shain comes in and is like, hello, you're wanted at the sex tent. The sweat tent. Freudian slip. Because I wish it was the sex tent. Sorry.
Yeah, this is the book where a sextant would happen.
I mean, yeah. You're wanted at the sex tent. I don't know if that's the invitation you get to go to an orgy.
Would you go?
Sex tent. No, it's not. I need more, ceremony.
To your orgies?
Yeah, I want, an invite.
Yeah, but what if you
Formal
got,
invite.
a lovely, gold foil invitation that said you're wanted at the sextant?
I'd consider it.
Okay. Now
So-
I know.
Yeah, no, you know. She's like, hey, you're wanted at the sweat tent. And Edwene is like, ugh, I just got ready to take my bath. Fine. Starts putting on her cloak. Is like, hey, what's your name? What's your whole deal? And this lady's like, I'm a Gai'shain. Here's my name. And Edwene pieces it together that she's one of these people who is acting differently post-revelation about Ale history and is refusing to stop being Gai'shain. She's just Perma-Gai'shain. Which doesn't seem productive to me, but to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
Egg gets a cloak on, puts on her shoes, walks over to the sweat tent, gets in there. All the wise ones and Moiraine and Avienda are sitting around, all of them naked. And I bet Amazon.tv will have a really buck wild time with this.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about it, and it's again, there's nothing, inherently wrong with nudity.
No,
and with
not at
people
all.
sitting around in a sweat tent getting clean. But I'm like, but this is the Wheel of Time. So there are some layers.
It's like in Game of Thrones. You know, in the end of the first season, when Daenerys goes into the fire and all her clothes get burned off, and she's got, some little dragons hanging onto her titties or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and she steps out of the fire. And it's like, yes, reasonably, I do believe that a woman walking into a fire would reduce her clothing to ashes. So I accept the nudity in this scenario.
Yeah.
But I also am able to understand that this will become an inherently sexualized scene for many.
Yeah, and it's just
And that it wasn't filmed in a way to make it not sexual.
Yeah, she walks out of the fire and the first thing you see is her butt, if I'm remembering
Yeah, or
correctly.
something.
And you're like, okay, I get it, she's naked. You can convey that in 100 other ways without getting me right up there on that ass.
Yeah.
But, and so, it'll be a hard scene, I think in particular, because, Edwene comments on, Moiraine as a person you never expect to, see naked, just because of her, propriety. Attempting to, maintain her propriety while being in this, quote-unquote compromising situation. So it's how's this gonna happen?
Yeah, are they gonna do a slow pan of Rosamund Pike's titties or whatever, you know? Please do not.
Yeah, don't do Rosamund like this. But we'll also have our, two of our young female leads just, sitting there servile and naked.
Yeah.
And it's
It's not a great scenario.
I don't know. And you're saying, I don't, I buy the nudity. It's just a cultural thing. This is how they get clean in a place without an abundance of water. But it's just I'm worried.
We're all super worried about everything. But they have a little combo where Moiraine's like, I wish you would convince Rand to not take his forces over the Dragon Wall because it'll ruin all of the Aes Sedai plans. And the Wise Ones are like, what plans? And Moiraine is like, I refuse to answer that. And the wise ones are like, I don't believe you actually have any plans in place.
Yeah.
Because there clearly aren't.
Yeah, and also, like, even if you did, we are not.
Yeah. It's, like, not like the Aes Sedai are mobilizing. I know Moiraine's a little bit behind the times, but even if Swan Sanche was still in charge...
She wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, nothing was happening.
It's kind of what happened.
Yes.
But yeah, and the wise ones are like, okay, you obviously don't have plans. What plans you do have are bad plans. And also, like, we are not part of the Aes Sedai. Like, we are an independent people with independent motives and reasons behind what we are doing.
Yeah, like, Moiraine's fear is that bringing the Ale over the Dragon Wall is going to lead to another Ale war. And that all of the Western nations will now see Rand as, like, an invading force at the head of an invading army. Mm-hmm. And that will turn all of the other countries against him. And the Ale are like, that is not our problem. Like, that sounds like a problem for Rand, the person who made this decision.
Yeah.
Like, maybe just let him do his thing, which he does fairly creditably.
Yeah, like, all more or less. Like, he does turn into a conqueror, but he would have done that no matter what army you gave him.
Yeah.
That was, like, seems to be his intention for a long time.
Yeah. Like, he pretty much, the countries he takes control over do okay for the most part.
Yeah.
And he generally leaves, like, competent people in charge when he's off doing his shit. So it's just, like, more Moiraine not trusting Rand to do things correctly.
Yeah.
Or have any idea what he's doing.
It's just exhausting at this point. Everything's exhausting.
Mm-hmm. But Moiraine leaves eventually, and then the wise ones are just chatting with Egg and Aviendha about whether Aviendha should sleep in Rand's room, which Aviendha's like, I don't want to, and they're like, too bad, we're gonna do it. And also there's a whole thing about Melaine, is that her name? Mm-hmm. Deciding to propose to, well, first she has to propose to Bael's first wife. Bael, you might not remember because I don't think we said his name, is one of the clan chiefs that is hanging out with Rand. I think he's the super duper tall one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
His one distinguishing characteristic. And just now we're finding out that Melaine is interested in him, and she's like,
I think these are the same dogs that always get into a fight when they go on walks.
These, like, two dogs.
Yeah, one of them's, like, really tiny, and one of them's fairly large, if I'm thinking of the right dogs. Yeah, and there's Tybalt just being like, you peasants, you've disturbed my slumber. So, anyway, just another day.
Just another day at the apartment complex.
I hate our apartment.
I do too. And this dog never shuts up.
It's so rude.
I know.
Every time I walk up to the door, it's like...
And I'm like, shh.
And you'll hear the owner from inside, like, yelling at it to be quiet. And I'm like, if you're not going to bring your dog inside or work harder to make it not such a vocal dog, don't just sit there and yell at it.
Yeah.
Because now you're just being loud, too.
Now you're just contributing to the issue. And I forget. Oh, they do instruct Egg on one of her next, like, dream walking missions. She's now learning how to find other people's dreams, which I think will come into play later in this book. But for now, she's also practicing on her own without telling the wise ones. Mm-hmm. She talks about how she has, like, gone into their dreams per their instructions. She's also gone into Ruark's dreams, which is horrifying. I assume he knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But also, like, then she's like, Ruark just thinks of me as, like, a little girl. And I'm like, Ruark is an old man.
And also you're 18.
And also you're 18, so
you are.
It's fine.
If Ruark's like, what, 50?
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, you are a little girl to him. It's okay.
Ruark's a big man. He's just like...
He's Big Papa.
He's Big Papa.
I like it when they call me Big Papa. Throw your hands in the air if you a true player. I think those are the lyrics.
He's got other things going on, is the point. Besides thinking about you, ever. So Egg is like, that's pretty embarrassing, but whatever. And then they, like, leave the tent, and... Oh, Aviendha has also asked Bear always Bale. So
Baylee
there are two
Domon.
Bales, yeah, Bale and Baylee Domon, just spelled different. What a
I bet
terrible
one of
time we
them's
live in.
pronounced horrifyingly,
You
like
think-
Bail.
Bailey.
Bailey. Look it up in the back. I wonder if it tells us.
I don't think Baylee Domon is in this book. Is the
No,
problem.
I mean the ale chief.
Okay. You get to a point where they stop putting everyone's names in
which
there.
is like, commit to the bit if you're
Yeah.
gonna have a pronunciation guide.
They have bear, but not Bale.
Hmm.
And bear is pronounced bear.
Bear.
Bear with a Y,
Like the aspirin.
I guess. How horrible would it be if we found out that Baylee Domon was pronounced Baylee Domon?
Baylee Domon.
Baylee Domon!
I will
Sounds
not-
like a sorority
I will
girl.
not call him Bailey.
Well, I won't call Moiraine Moiraine, so...
I mean, I won't call anybody what they're supposed to be called.
That's true.
I will die
Unless
on the
it's
hill of Edgewood.
Obvious!
Yeah.
Unless it's obvious.
Egwene.
Egwene. Gawain. You gave me 3 names that are very obvious to pronounce. Rand, Matt, and Perrin. That's it. Everything else I will mispronounce.
Nynaeve has so many vowels in her name.
That's so many.
Nynaeve. She's in the Nynaeve.
Nynaeve. Anyway, that wise ones are like, please run 50 laps around the tent.
Because Edwene was a little bit late.
And Avienda forgot to make tea.
Yeah.
And, I mean, these ladies are probably at the peak of their fitness game, is all I can say about
Yeah.
that. But it's also freezing and they're still naked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Robert Jordan clearly never consulted a woman about what it's like to run without a bra.
Christ.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
There's a reason sports bras exist.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just, yeah. Like, I think one time you talked about how Robert Jordan probably has, like, a weird fetish for women punishing other women.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, so much of women punishing other women in
It's
these
a
books.
lot. I know. It's
Not
like
to,
a,
like, Freudian analyze Robert Jordan,
but like, why else would you do it?
kinky.
Yeah.
Titties flapping everywhere. And it also hurts so much.
That's what I'm saying. It hurts so bad.
Yeah, like, even if you don't have very big boobs, which I don't,
Yeah,
but
me
even then
neither.
if I run without a bra, I'm like, hello, I have bruises on my chest, it feels
It's
like.
terrible.
Yeah.
Woof. Anyway, and they just like chat while they run.
Yeah.
Their whole chat takes place over 1 lap, which leads me to believe that they will be running the length of a marathon, because 50 laps is a lot.
Yeah.
It's not like a short thing. But whatever. And they just talk about how, oh, the wise ones use the
Them,
girls,
yeah.
and compare them to each other in order to motivate the other one. And, oh, look at that. That's so cute. And Egg is like, are you sure you're okay with sleeping in the same room as Rand? And Avian is like, yeah, I don't have a problem with sleeping in the same room as a man. That's, like, not an issue culturally. But Rand does belong to Elaine. And Egg is like, he technically does not. And Avian is like, you asked me to look after him for her. Sort of a mixed
Yeah.
signal there. And Egg is like, I had no idea how you would interpret that
Yeah.
to the militant degree that you have interpreted that.
Yeah.
But, it's not a particularly happy conversation.
No, there's just sort of a looming... Bleh.
The sexy glow is looming.
It's looming. It's
On the
ready to
horizon.
crush us. It's just hanging above us.
Yeah.
Like the piano being precariously lifted into a window in that episode of Supernatural.
Only to fall on Dean Winchester, crushing him
87
like
times.
several times. And there's also a discussion about ale honor, and Egg's like, I know I don't really get it. And Avian is like, you don't get it, but you do practice it. Like, you're an honorable person. And then Egg is like, yeah. Robert Jordan is like, yeah, look, she doesn't even, like, consider skipping
Not
out on
really,
this
yeah.
task. And I'm like, that's inhuman. I would be like,
I'd be like, no, this is against the
fucking
Geneva
out.
Convention.
yeah, what are you doing?
Cruel and unusual
Just
punishment.
let me get a bra. Jesus.
But they're running boobs cupped.
Yeah.
Provide your own bra.
How else could you do it?
Listen up, Amazon.tv, if you do this scene.
If you do this scene, I'll murder you,
Well,
personally.
first of all,
Yeah.
race.
Just don't do this scene. There's no reason for this
There's no,
scene.
actual substance.
Yeah. Which is these entire 2 chapters. There's no
Yeah.
real substance here.
It's very much like a couple of chapters at the beginning of a Wheel of Time book where things are being set up for 400 pages later.
Yeah. Where
Which
maybe
is,
they will come to
fine.
fruition.
Yeah, they're just kind of frustrating to spend 45 minutes talking about.
But yeah. Well, the good news is next week there's a Darkhound attack, and that will involve some Matt, which is always just more entertaining to talk about,
I love that boy.
as we know. And then I think the Ale and everyone else will get ready to leave Ruidan.
They will get ready to move out.
Yeah, and after that we'll flip over to Nynaeve and Elaine. So, good stuff on the horizon. Just this one kind of a stinker. Kind of a stinker, these chapters.
A little bit of a stinky poop.
Yep. Not great.
Well,
Okay, yeah. Anyhow,
we made it. So this is Wednesday in the EHR timeline. And on your timeline, friends, it is Monday or later, March 30th, which means a couple of days ago, Emily did a live stream of her playing Wind Waker as part of our special EHR quarantine content. And so that will have been live last Friday, but I'm sure we will have the link posted somewhere for you to watch it for those who can't be live. So if you just need a little extra boost of comedy during your week, I've watched Emily play Wind Waker several times, and it's pretty funny.
I'm sure it was a disaster.
No, it was very charming.
No, I mean, when they listen to this, I'm sure the live stream was a disaster.
We're working, you can't really, stream GameCube on anything.
Yeah, GameCube's a little old school, so it'll just be my webcam.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It'll be charming. It'll be very EHR.
Yep.
Low tech quality, but a lot of heart.
Sure.
Dumb of ass, pure of heart.
Yep, that's EHR's motto.
But yeah, other than that, kind of the same stuff. We just hope you guys are taking care of yourself mentally and physically, and taking care of your community by staying at home and isolating as much as is possible for you. Big shout out to anybody working in service industries or grocery stores or hospitals who cannot stop going to work, or whose employers refuse to let them stop because the economy is allegedly more important than people's lives. We're thinking of you and hope that we can provide a little boost of positivity on your Monday morning. And thank you for protecting us and doing what you have to do. Yeah. Anyway.
Do you want to sign us off? Do
Oh,
the
yeah.
listeners sign
We have
off?
some listener sign-offs.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, Gavin submitted another one, which is funny, but I've been sitting on this. Gavin has the funniest life in the world.
Gavin, I've been haunted by that story of the child on the airplane since we read it the first time.
I'm obsessed with you, Gavin.
I literally think about it all the time.
I know. This one is also really funny, though. This comes from Kristen. Who is one of our generous patrons. Thank you, Kristen. I hope you're doing well. And Kristen writes, I work in R&D for a very large personal care product company. Like most industries, aside from bench chemistry, even R&D functions have moved to online platforms and databases. I might be an R&D expert, but I am no way an IT expert, which is how I found myself fumbling through an extremely awkward conversation with our IT team the other week. The backstory is that a server that houses my primary work studio has been acting up for weeks, but has finally been resolved. So in a follow-up call with IT, I mentioned that the server issues must have been fixed because it hasn't gone down on me in a few days. Yikes. Almost as soon as I said it, I realized the unintended innuendo and was so embarrassed that I quickly rambled through the rest of my recap, hoping no one else caught on. In my mind, I knew exactly what I was trying to say, but IT lingo is lost on me, and obviously what I said was less than eloquent. Most definitely less than professional. We've all been there, man.
Yeah, dude. My nightmare is talking to IT people during this.
Because I'll be like, computer?
Yeah, I've talked to the IT guys at work before, and it's just like relentless World of Warcraft stuff that I did not sign up to talk about.
Yeah.
So
So don't worry.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
You can do it.
And you're powerful and beautiful. And I say the dumbest shit to everybody all the time. But definitely when people are like, computer, and I'm like, oh, I have a lot of anxiety because computer bros are like computer bros. And I like don't know how to navigate this system.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I get it. You're beautiful and powerful.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good week. Stay inside.
Stay inside. Distance
Can't
for
find
Zoe.
the stop button. Okay, bye.